log for these people. Okay, and I'm not judging or condemning anybody. I'm just saying, look, you got to understand your enemy. You got to know your enemy, and your enemy will stop at nothing to get their way. These are spoiled little brats, evil little psycho demonic brats. That's by their fruits. I'm just identifying their actions. They don't mind children dying. Like Madeleine Albright said, we don't care. 500,000 children, Iraqi children, died in Desert Storm or whichever storm it was, whichever, you know, dubious war we were involved in the Middle East during the Battle of Armageddon. See, as far as I'm concerned, the Battle of Armageddon probably already happened. I'm not worried about nuclear stuff or any of this that other people are, okay? Because God's in control. I know for a matter of fact God's in control. And things don't have to get any worse than this. It doesn't mean that Satan's going to roll over and go down without a fight and all the minions thereof. And remember, the minions thereof, which are vast, are often unwitting. That's it. We've got to get that through our heads when it comes to reaching people. We don't know who is deceived and who is a deceiver. Okay, all we can do is bring the message of Christ, act like Christ to them. And when we're unduly hated for that, that's the cross we have to bear. But they're going to hate you. When you love them, that's the last thing they want. That's like pouring holy water on these people when they know that you genuinely love them and care about them. And you want their saved, save your wretched soul. Come to Christ. Let's have a come to Jesus meeting. You and I, a one-on-one, and then they start shrinking away because they know that they love their lives in this world. They love money. They love this current established system. They revel in it. They want it to continue to be maintained. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what these people want. So anyhow, just finishing up on that point, I don't believe in forcing markets. I don't believe in forcing anybody. You see, I'm the last guy on earth that would be a good communist or socialist because I cannot stand this idea of taking from others and having them resent me, creating animosity in my fellow human being for any reason. I don't want to do that, okay? But if it happens in the quest for truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, there's nothing I could do about that. If somebody wants to hate me unduly, but they need to know me first, know what philosophy I prescribe to, economically speaking, and that is free market, supply and demand economics. And progress has a very definitive definition, okay? And progress means that your burden goes down, okay? As we as a civilization, a civilized society, okay, find easier and easier methods of producing not only the things we absolutely need, like food and housing and water, potable water, and nowadays energy is increasingly more important to us and become more of a need. But also the things we want, all the trinkets and knickknacks, I'm not going to go into because we know they're vast and numerous, okay? But everything goes down in price, okay? So your currency naturally goes up in worth as your cost of living goes down, as your cost to exist goes down. So, that's what I believe in. I just believe in don't force things. What we've got is a totally artificial, invented economy, manufactured economy, and it just suits the desires of these special interest groups that are colluding against the welfare of the human race, basically, because they too know that the destruction of the dollar through currency debasement is a bad thing, but they don't care because it's working to their favor. Okay, in the equation, this of ill-gotten gain, they don't care because they don't care how they get the gain. They just want it. They love that gain. They love that money. Okay, and we understand it. Nobody should pretend that we don't understand the love of money. I mean, God's not stupid, okay? He knows what's in my heart. He knows what's in your heart, so I'm not going to sit here like some phony and tell you that I don't love money for the mere fact that it pays my bills, man. It helps me to pay charity, okay? It helps. I love money in that sense, so I'm going to confess it before God and man that, who doesn't understand that? So what is the solution? What the solution has to be is this understanding that you're born unthinkably wealthy, not because I say so or any man. It's because that's the paradigm. That's the reality of the situation, that we're all together in this thing. We have one set of parents, okay, and that's the one that would want it that way. This is the ultimate parents would say to you, here, my child, all this I have given you. Okay, so when we serve one another, it's because we darn well want to. The only way it ought to be. Okay, what man has a right to hold it over another man? I mean, we can understand hierarchy. We can understand that, well, these people know more than these people. So this is where the inequality comes in. And I'm fine with the hierarchy and the teachers that teach those that know less. That's the way it works. That's the way we accumulate knowledge and information. We need leadership, okay? But we don't need to be forced. We don't need to be coerced. We don't need to be tricked into this thing. This mass division that they've created. That's what a disparity is. This consolidation of the wealth. Okay? It's satanic. That's this paradigm that we're in. We're all stuck here. And we're inextricably interconnected. I always say this because we are. And if other people are suffering unnecessarily, remember, that's key. Because I'm not talking about the victims of a natural disaster, and while that's terrible, I'm talking about victims of invented disasters. Okay, those are the ones I care about. Okay, and that's all of us. We're all victims of this thing. The rich don't know it, but hey, they're still living in insecurity. They're still in fear. People say, hi, they're financially free. And all. No, they're not. They still have to pay a cost to exist. They live in fear, like Jesus said. The rich fear they will lose, and the poor fear they will never have. So what are you going to do? I mean, there's no way out of this thing. Obviously, there's no way out. We're all stuck in this crap hole that we call reality. Okay? And we're told just go with the flow, go along. Somehow it all makes sense when it doesn't. It doesn't, that we should just comply, just conform, and, if you can't beat them, join them, and ignorance is bliss. All this crap that we're taught and trained to believe. We're indoctrinated, we're brainwashed, we're inculcated with this crap. They're running the higher educational institutions, they're running the media, and these are the educators. These are the cutting edge educators, is the mainstream media. And if we're forgetting recent history, like the assassination of JFK, what that was all about, what was his agenda, how he was abolishing the Federal Reserve, had already supplanted their currency, was circulating these silver notes. He was fully ready to just take over. It's going to be nationalized currency, and it's going to work for everybody. It's going to create a rising tide of prosperity across the board. And these evildoers just couldn't have that. It was going to do the things that I am always espousing, that I say we should do this. This is how it should be done, gradually, gently. It's not going to hurt anybody. We're not taking from anybody. We're just allowing others to have. Okay, that's it. So why was JFK? We forget recent history. We forget the '08 bailout just 9 years ago, right? Not even 9 years ago. We're not talking about that. What would have happened if, we said, well, maybe these people aren't too big to jail. And maybe these institutions, these lending institutions aren't too big to fail, okay? And maybe that would be the very best thing for America. No, we didn't have that. We had a tiny minority make that decision for us. It's called Congress and Senate, right? They voted on this thing. And the Federal Reserve bankers. So those are the people that decided how it's going to be. And it sickens me to no end that there's so many people that are still ignorant and confused about these things. That's what we need to revisit. Just go back. Trump needs to go back 8.5 years and say, no, we're not going to go for this. We want this market reset. Let's go back and have this market correction. Okay, if we're going to do things retroactively, we're going to fix things. Okay, because that's an anathema to the establishmentarians. We've got to get that through our heads. Do you understand just how many jobs would disappear out there? How many people would have to do real productive jobs and be useful and helpful, okay, in society, and be productive in some other way if all these jobs didn't exist? Okay, we don't need people costing us money to do these jobs when they're just traitors. They're stabbing us in the back right and left. Fire these politicians. We don't need them. We hire them to do a job, and then they don't do it for us. Okay, 90+% of the American people were against that banking bailout of '08. Did we get our way? And then we have the nerve to call it a republic? A republic? It's about as far removed from a republic as it could be. People are outraged at the direction they're taking, not only America, but the whole world. We're bringing everybody down with us. So that's what they want. They screw it up everywhere else. They make it more of a hellhole than America. So everybody wants to come here because we're the best house in a bad neighborhood, right? They know what they're doing. They're very cunning, crafty, diabolical. This is where I I strongly differ with people that believe we need to grow the economy. We don't. We need to grow the worth of our currency. That's all we need to do. That's it. And I've already spelled out how to do it. We need checks and balances. We need accountability. We need oversight. Not by liars, cheaters, thieves, and murderers, but by we the people at large. All of us have to have a voice in this thing. We all have equality. In that regard, we should all be equal in America. One voice, one vote. That's it. We have rights, inalienable rights that are granted by God, God being the benefactor. And they can't be taken away by any law that man creates. Okay? So these evildoers, they're going to lose.